You can't see me, you can't see me. Now you can kind of see me. There really is no way to be comfortable and try to film this in my car. Not right here, at least. And not when it's past midnight. But I'm going to try it anyway. So, the video idea, or topic for today, I'm kind of late on it, but kind of not. I'm talking about Kurt Cobain today, which is technically April 6th, but since I'm recording this after I just got off work and it's past midnight, it still feels like April 5th to me. Why does that matter? 20 years ago today, we're going to say that, Kurt Cobain passed away, or killed himself, or Courtney Love killed him, or take your pick. I don't know. I haven't looked too much into it. I just know how much Kurt Cobain has done to the music industry. Obviously, everybody looks at Nirvana for the big grunge movement, which is true. I mean, they had their whole hand in it. You can also look at Pearl Jam, which, yes, grunge, but I think a little bit more than grunge. Yeah, Nirvana was big in the grunge industry. Obviously, you can't deny that. Look at record sales. Look at just the sound of music. It was so different from, let's say, what was it? Nevermind came out in 92, 91 or 92. I believe Nevermind came out in 92. This shows I should have done research. And that was a year after Metallica's Black Album. You had the hair metal from the 80s and the new wave and punk scene and just a lot of pop music and I don't know what you would call it. Needless to say, you had a few different genre types. Not to mention the oldie station that could have plenty of things from rock and roll to classic rock to disco to whatever. Country music, whatever. Not saying country music's oldies, but I guess some of it is. Looking at grunge, comparing it to heavy metal, it seems a lot simpler. But this is all speculative. I mean, you can take this anywhere you want to. That's just my view of it. Grunge is more simplistic compared to heavy metal, in my opinion. Yes and no. I mean, you can get into solos and say which one's more complex. But overall, the rhythms are easier than heavy metal. Or the hair metal. I guess glam metal too. Or thrash. That's just speed. But there are some really talented thrash bands. Look at early Metallica, look at Slayer, look at any of the big four, obviously. Anthrax, Megadeth. Oh, who else? Napalm Death. Oh, yeah, I guess they're thrash. But they got qualities of everything and other things. Sorry, I like my metal. Grunge is composed in a simpler manner, and it seems just more punching in your face. You're not trying to be the 8-minute long songs. You're not trying to do the solos. You're not trying to do much of anything. Just play a song and make it a point. And a lot of stuff that, well, a lot of the popular stuff that came out of grunge was depressing. I was watching a video recently with Gimme a Flake Man. I reference him a lot on here, don't I? Anyway, I like his channel. I like his videos. Yeah, it's a double thing. Anyway, he was mentioning, he's like, I don't like the 90s music because it's all depressing. Why am I singing sad? I'm so sad when I have all this money. Well, I agree but disagree. I think it's more real, but that's my opinion. And then, yes, I agree on some of it. It's just, shut up already. Take a Prozac and be happy. But you can take what you will on any kind of music. I think grunge is more to the point. But when I think of grunge, I look at the punk and rock and roll scene. And rock and roll, I mean the 50s rock and roll kind of stuff. And then how 50s rock and roll evolved in classic rock and everything got more complex. And then punk said, I'm just going to make a point. I'm going to use 3 chords and do whatever. I look at grunge the same way. Heavy metal kept going and going and going and get more complex. You get the details, the rhythmic scales, whatever, and grunge just sat back and said, I'm going to play rock and roll. It's not going to be as complex, but it's going to be more in your face. So I linked those two together. rock and roll to punk, and then heavy metal to grunge. They are very reminiscent of each other. Now, what has grunge done for me? One of the first licks, riffs, licks, whatever you want to call it, I learned on guitar was Smells Like Teen Spirit. That riff, it's simple, but it's fun. So I recommend anybody learning the little intro to Smells Like Teen Spirit or the whole damn song, because it's fun. I know Kurt Cobain influenced me as far as playing riffs, but I try to make my riffs, my licks, whatever you want to call them, more unique instead of just the 4/4, which I do reminisce on the 4/4 measure. I just wanted to make a video. It's 20 years since Kurt Cobain died. I don't necessarily remember him on like the news and stuff, because in 94, I was still a kid. I'm not going to say how old, but I was still a kid, not really paying attention to the world. But I remember whenever his 10-year anniversary for his death came around that time, by then I'd really gotten into music and stuff and started thinking like, wow, 10 years. And now looking 10 years later from that, 20 years since he passed away, it's weird, but it's not. But you can look at anything like that. Like Metallica's been around for 81, 91, 01, 2011, 33 years at the recording of this video. So it's weird. The Rolling Stones are going on their 60 years or something like that? And they're still going. Good for them. Keep going. By all means. If you like what you do, keep doing it. I respect Kurt Cobain. I think he had depression and should have been taken care of better, but it's also probably the same way with a lot of people. Like, I think of Elvis, how Colonel Parker f***ed him over. Excuse my French. Yeah, Elvis was taken advantage of. And I'm only curious about what would have happened if he would have kept going. I would really love to see what Elvis did afterwards. Same thing with Kurt Cobain. I love branching off a minute, I love the Family Guy clip, like what would happen if Kurt Cobain would have lived. The scene is showing him playing on stage. And he goes, "Thanks everybody, our 6th album just came out. Now remember, don't do drugs." And then he goes after the stage, and somebody comes up and he says, "Kurt, love your performance." And Kurt's like, "Thank you. Have you met my wife, Courtney Love?" Who? There's a theory on the death, but that's been brought up plenty. How did he die? Well, he died by a shotgun. Cacking. What could have happened if he didn't die? Who knows? But is it one of those deaths that was it martyr, I guess would be the best way to say it? Something more happened because of his death than what... Well, going back to Elvis. Elvis was on downhill whenever he was passing away. He was still popular, but back in 77, his sales just... What was the review I was reading a little while ago saying how people were not thinking his choice in music for the songs he was doing was very good, and not as many people were coming to his concert as prior. But whenever he was going low, he passed away, his sales went up. Now I think the same way for Nirvana, but I don't know the details of that one yet. Or I don't have it offhand. I think that's it for everything. Sorry about the weirdness with the car and everything, but I figure it's a lot better than me having to whisper like I was last night for the Hanami toast. I am waiting on those videos, by the way. All the people who went to Hanami, I am waiting for those videos to appear on YouTube, because I'm pretty sure y'all had a good time. Again, I'm not much of a party person, but I still enjoy watching other people have fun. Hopefully the next video will be in the daytime, where I don't have to do the weirdness in the car. Weirdness with ducks in the car. Do I have a duck in the car? No, I don't have a duck in the car. But yeah, that's the video for this day, since I'm trying to do a video every day. is just remembering Kurt Cobain 20 years later. And what I think how he affected the music industry on his own. Or on in the band. Like the feud between Nirvana and Pearl Jam, and obviously his suicide or murder. Depends on which version you want to look at. But that's it for this video. So, until next time, Johnny. You can't see her, but she's right there. See my kitty cat? Hello, kitty cat.